Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Monday, the first Monday in 2026, January 5th, 2026, like I said, and it's 7:37 a.m. on this Monday morning, like I said, the first Monday in January. It is 48 degrees under mostly cloudy morning skies, which is supposed to clear up throughout the day after we've had basically mainly a week's worth, if not more, atmospheric rain, river storms, if you will, throughout the state. And not just rain, but also snow because of Sierra and Lake Tahoe and all that. But yeah, you see the title of the audio video. We are back to normal for a new year. That's right. We are basically back to normal in the new year. And what I mean by that, as of right now, because things probably will, if not definitely will change. The reason I say that now is because I am still, looking for work. I'm still applying places. Indeed.com has been helping me out. LinkedIn potentially is going to be helping me out. So there are areas I am looking about, through other outlets and everything that's helping me, find work and everything. So pray as much as you can, guys, that I find work. I either go back to the job I started with back in 2014 and had for 6 years, or I end up basically creating a legacy and going working for the same people that my family, my parental figures, if you will, one of them anyway, works for a couple of years while also doing the job they're currently doing now, and that's working, as a preschool teacher. So pray, guys, pray as much as you can that I get into one of those jobs very soon, and also pray that potentially, if not definitely, my YouTube monetization grows this year to where on a monthly basis, not a bi-monthly, but a monthly basis, I can get something financially deposited into my account. It would help me out tremendously. So, yeah. So yeah, basically pray all that occurs. It would be very, very, very helpful. And not just with the monetization of this channel, but also the fact that, I have a Patreon, I have a Venmo, and a Cash App, and the Fourth Wall, and the Teespring store, which I'll, talk about in a minute, and the, plugs and everything. But check all those out. It helps me out, and, tremendously, and hopefully, and definitely it will help me out. I feel very positive it will help me out this year, and everything. But anyway, with that said, before we get started, excuse me, I'd like to ask you guys to do me a solid favor, and that's like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Also, guys, as I just alluded to, if you can go into the links in the description or go to the links on my homepage here on YouTube and click on them, and you can find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube. You can find me at all your favorite audio and video podcast affiliates like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and to an extent SiriusXM. If you're also into watching other video outlets, you can find me at Daily Motion, you can find me at Rumble, you can find me at Odyssey, and you can find me at VENMO. Also, guys, I have a Patreon, which I will get back to doing once again. I was starting that out very well, but again, holidays crept upon us, and let's just put it that way. Let's just put it this way. I should say it's early. I do apologize, but let's just put it this way. Basically, things kind of, had priority. Were put priority-wise first before anything else. So. Yeah, that's why the Patreon was one of the things that didn't really substantiate the way I wanted it to during that time. But I do have a Patreon if you want to check that out. It'd be greatly appreciated. I also have, as I mentioned, a Cash App and a Venmo. Those links are in the description as well. And also, guys, I have a couple of online stores, as I mentioned. They are in the description as well. I have a Teespring store. Link for that is at the bottom. And a Fourth Wall store. Link is at the top of the description. for that. Basically, right after the description of the video, where it says Super Chats and all that, the link for the Fourth Wall store is right there. Also, guys, I'm on several other outlets. I'm on DeviantArt at BVW1979. I'm on inkbunny.net, that's INKBUNNY.net. I am there at BW Rosas. And I'm at for Affinity at BW1979. You also check me out there as well. Also, guys, you can follow me on social media. You can find me at TikTok at BW Rosas, at Blue Sky at BW Rosas, and Twitter, aka X.com at BW Rosas. Also, guys, if you would like, during this live video premiere, the live chat will be open, so you want to come on in, smash that like button while you're at it, and everything. It'd be greatly appreciated. But if you'd like, come on in, chime in your thoughts on what I'm going to say here and all that. It'd be greatly appreciated. And also like that button as well. Smash that like button at the same time. It helps me out tremendously. Also, if you feel like doing so to help start off this new year on a positive note, Super Chats are open. You want to get those on in if you would like. It would be greatly appreciated. Let's start the new year off with a bang. Also, ladies and gentlemen, the comment section on both the live chat and the and afterwards, I should say. Like I said, it's early. Like I said, it's early and everything. That's why I'm stumbling on my words a little bit. I'm not fully awake yet as I'm recording this. I do apologize. But like I said, the comment section will be open during the live chat and afterwards. And if you still want to help donate, kick this new year off in a big way, then basically, ladies and gentlemen, the super thanks option, which is the little heart with a dollar sign in the middle, the super chat, the super thanks option, that little button is also, also will be open, I should say, after the video premiere is done. And guys, like I said, subscribe. Depending on how you watch this, the subscribe button will be right on the bottom left-hand corner or bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you want to click on that, it helps me out. And again, hit and smash that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. But with that said, let's get on to the video. Alright, so yeah, as you can see by the title, guys, we are definitely back to normal for the new year. We're starting out the first full week of the new year back to normal. And yeah, what a holiday vacation it was. There's no doubt, guys. And first of all, I do have to thank you guys and give a shout out to Guy Bearclaw. He really helped me out tremendously on Saturday because I decided to do a live reaction to the Seattle Seahawks San Francisco 49ers game because it had such importance. And I didn't expect much, but all of a sudden, Guy Bearclaw comes in, tells people to smash and hit that like button, and before I knew it, at halftime, everything just shot up. Everything just shot up to where I had, from just a small amount of, viewers to all of a sudden it was in the hundreds and all that. And the like buttons and the likes just kept going up and up and up. And even when we got into the second half of the game, they, kind of basically kept steady. They kept going up. The live viewers and everything kept going up. So I do want to come out and say thank you for doing that, guys. It really, really helped me out. I was totally surprised, and I feel blessed that you guys did that. And I do have a live stream coming up later today. I got to get fully awake, though, and I got to make my bed, though, before then. I got to make my bed before then and all that. But I do have a live stream I have planned for today. Well, I will be doing something that I've been seeing people that I follow here on YouTube been doing, and that's basically give predictions for what 2026 will bring. So be on the lookout for that live stream when it happens. I'll be recording that on my HD10, my Fire HD10 instead of my GoPro, because as I mentioned in my first live stream of the new year, basically the GoPro essentially got very hot. We'll put it that way. I was 46 minutes into the live stream, and all of a sudden the GoPro goes and then it gives me a message getting too hot. So yeah, that wasn't very fun. So if you guys know any ways of keeping it cool when you use it for a live stream, it'd be greatly appreciated. It'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, basically it went, you know, and so what I had to do is I had to set up my GoPro, well not my GoPro, but my Amazon Fire HD. I had to basically set that up, to kind of resume where I left off. So yeah, I had to do it that way, and then I pieced them all together into one big, long, 84-minute plus video. Because essentially that's what it would have been anyway. But you could kind of tell in that video that I was still kind of waking up. It was still early, that, and I wasn't drinking coffee like I normally would, like I am now. I was drinking a Sprite. And again, that's mainly because of the fact, and a lot of you, and I've mentioned this numerous times, and all that. A lot of you that have followed me for going on 18 years this June. That's right, it's going to be 18 years this June here on YouTube for my channel. And I thank you guys for sticking with me for that long as we approach that milestone. The big milestone, of course, is in 2 years and everything, and that's 2028 when we hit 20 years, Lord willing, God willing. But anyway, like I said, I was not drinking a coffee and all that and everything that morning, and everything, which was Friday morning. I wasn't drinking a coffee and anything like that. I was drinking a Sprite because, as I was saying, those of you that have followed me for that long, 17 years last year, going on 18 this year, you know my circumstances. You know how things work around certain portions of the season, certain quarters of the year. Certain parts of the quarters of the year, if you know what I mean. It's essentially for anybody that might have been new to my channel, and I really thank you guys for hopping in and subscribing to me throughout the year. It really helped me out tremendously. But for a lot of you that might be new to the channel and you're wondering what I've been kind of getting at, if you will, currently right now the way I'm recording this on my digital voice recorder is I'm walking around the house. I'm walking around the house. I'm walking down the hall. I'm walking into, the kitchen area and all that. So I'm walking all about, right? During certain parts of the year, certain seasonal parts of of certain quarters, like the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter, of the year. Certain seasons like, spring, summer, fall to an extent, but mostly winter, Christmas, if you will. What happens, and this also depends on whether I'm working or not, but historically, a lot of you that have followed me know that I always find a way to get content out even when I'm working. And the way I do that, for those of you that might be wondering that are new, basically what I would do is I would wait till I would wait basically a few minutes before I clocked in, and if I saw, hey, I got like 15 minutes or I got 20 minutes before I clock in, I would basically take my voice recorder here that I'm using, or at least my old one, or I would take my phone, my original phone, or even my new one, and what I would do is I would walk around, on camera or audio recording, and I would, just talk about whatever topic came to my mind. I would do that. I even did a few live streams at times, very briefly, to kind of, give you guys some content. Give this channel, some content and everything. And it helped out tremendously. It helped out tremendously. But again, the reason I did that was not only because I was working, but, the way things were, like with the work schedule and everything that I would have, I would get home from work sometimes before, before other hours, came forward, and essentially, I would use what I had even then to kind of give content, but also I'd be tired. I'd be very tired to where, okay, I'm not going to be in the mood to do any, content uploading, all that, or content creating to upload to my YouTube channel. So I'm just going to, leave with what I did before, before work, during lunch, after work. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it at that and go from there. So like I said, with the exception of working, well, I'll still find ways to do that. With the exception, of those circumstances, mainly what I do, because like I said, now that things are kind of getting back to, the way they were before the Christmas break, you know, basically, basically right now, like I said, I'm walking about the house, recording this, but during, certain times of the year, like I was saying, seasonal parts, like, spring, summer, fall to an extent, and even Christmas, winter break, is I would be basically limited to what I could do. Not saying that I wouldn't have opportunities. No, there have been several opportunities last year, and I guarantee there will be opportunities this year to I'll be able to do this during those certain break periods. There will definitely be opportunities. But, excuse me there. But what's interesting though is that most of the time, I will be getting up early, staying up late, you know, and basically waiting to record something. And what I would do is I would find ways to ensure, okay, do I have an opportunity in front of me? Do I have this opportunity in front of me? And I would see, okay, I have that opportunity. And that's how it would work out. We do it in the morning, early in the morning, like it was on Friday, and a previous few times before that, or basically like it was on Saturday with the live stream, because both of us were watching the game individually in our areas of the house. So I was able to do the live stream. But point I'm getting at is that now I have a little bit more leeway, a little bit more elbow room, if you will, to kind of get things back to the way they were. Get things back to the way they were and everything. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't find a way to do things, as I do them during the season. I'm not saying I wouldn't find a way to do that. I would, because there's definitely a time coming, and it feels like it's going to be sooner than a lot sooner. I should say it's going to be a lot sooner than we could expect. But there's going to be a time that's coming, to where basically I'm going to have to, just really adjust, what I do, working or not, which I will be working, thank God, but I will really have to adjust how I do content creating, going forward. And, that time, like I said, is coming, and it feels like it's coming a lot sooner, but not entirely sure when or where. That decision is up to God. Only God and the Lord Jesus above know, when that time is coming. And I'm sure a lot of you might be saying, well, what's he talking about? Or wondering what I'm talking about. Believe me, I think you know. Believe me, I think you know. And don't worry, it's nothing bad. It's actually good, if you will. But I think a lot of you know. And it's something that a lot of people go through in their lives, depending on what career path they've taken. In fact, I'll put it this way. It's something that John Cena did this past year. We'll put it that way. If you're a wrestling fan, you know that it's something John Cena, and as of a couple of days ago, Hiroshi Tanahashi did, for their careers. We'll put it that way. But point is, and I know I sound like a ramble there for a lot, for many minutes. Point is, I'm now able to basically walk about and record things, without any kind of interruption, basically, or without any kind of reconfiguration. Not saying that's a bad thing. It's actually a good thing when you do that. But yeah, it's just one of those situations to where, like I was saying, when you saw that first live stream and all that, and especially coupled together into one video, I wasn't drinking a coffee like I am now. I was drinking a Sprite because of those kind of circumstances, But anyway, to get back on track, we are, like I said, back to more leeway, elbow room, if you will, for the time being, at least for the next 2 weeks. Because that's Martin Luther King Day, and a lot of people thankfully have that day off and definitely need a break. And I believe some people even wait that long to take down the decorations because they look at that as basically being like the calling card, the signal of, okay, Christmas is done, holidays are done, take them down. Some even wait, believe it or not, till the Super Bowl's over, and then they're like, okay, take it down. But yeah. I do apologize for rambling a bit on and on of what I was saying there. But again, I just wanted to get to the point, especially those that are new to me on this channel over the past year. That's mainly what you got to look forward to during certain parts of the season. That's what you got to look forward to. Basically, the fact that I got to work around, it's like during certain parts of the year, I got to work around certain situations that, take priority that'll be beyond my control, and they take priority above everything else. But with that said, it has definitely been an interesting holiday and an interesting year. I mean, let's be honest, it's a year I think a lot of us were glad to get out of. Let's be honest. It was definitely a year for a lot of us to want to get out of, because it's like if you were a fan of certain people, celebrities, athletes, sports entertainers, it's like you couldn't turn around it's like you couldn't turn your head for one moment and not hear about someone passing. It was that kind of year last year. You couldn't turn around for one moment and not hear about somebody passing. Whether it was because of natural causes, because of a missed medical situation, missed prescription usage, or whatever the case might be, or missed medical procedure. You just couldn't, turn around and not hear about, say, oh, this due to assassinations and all that. You could not basically turn around or turn your head for one moment and not turn on the news or turn on YouTube and find out about these things. And it's like, and the first thing that goes through your mind is, what is going on with this year? It's like, what is going on with this year, right? It just felt so off. It just felt so unusual. And it's like I said in my live stream. Again, you could see it in two parts in the live portion. You could see it individually in two parts if you want to do that. Or you can see the whole 84-minute version. But it's like I said in the live stream. I feel a lot of folks last year, and this basically was a major domino effect. Let's be honest, it was. It was a major domino effect. But everyone last year, I believe, was fully affected by the transition in power here in presidency of the United States. They were fully affected. And why? Because, as I said in my live stream, and I'll say it again, it's because for the first time in a while, actually the first time in 5 years, 4 years, if you will, 4 years actually. For the first time in 4 years, we had a president, the same president we had, prior, basically from 2017 to basically 2021. Because that's how the real regime starts and everything. But we had it's because we had a president, same one as before, basically, do what they said they were going to do, as well as make up for, the promises and stuff they said they were going to do previously, because honestly, Trump, that's our president, was a man of his word then, but he didn't get to do as much as he wanted to then. Now he is. Now he is. Now he's able to, do certain things, that he couldn't really accomplish, because Congress and House-wise, if you will, House of Representatives, Senate-wise, and all that, was not in his favor, or it was basically this, lumpity, if you know what I mean. Up and down. But now he's got plenty in his favor, even some Democrats and independents, that are happy with what he's doing. And I think that's, again, as I mentioned in my live stream, that's what threw a lot of people off. And it domino affected on everything. It really did. It domino affected on everything because they didn't. Because here's the thing: it had been 4 years initially before he was sworn in last year. Sworn in last year, which is going to be a year in a couple of weeks, in basically 2 weeks. It's going to be a year, 2 weeks from tomorrow. It had been 4 years since they had someone like him in office or back in office saying he was going to do what he was going to do, and he did it. He said he was going to do this, he did it. He said he was going to do that, he did it. And a lot of people, I think, American citizenship wise as well as world international wise, I think they were thrown off by that. They're like, oh crap, this guy's actually doing what he says he's going to do. This guy ain't messing around. And he isn't. Well, he wasn't, I should say. He isn't, he wasn't, and he still isn't. He's not messing around. And a lot of people, I think, are just, I think a lot of people are just so unused to that. Because, as I alluded to in the live stream, a lot of them were always used to previous presidents, after, Trump's first term, before Trump's first term. They were always used to presidents, Republican, Democrat, and even independent, that never really fulfilled the promises. They was just so, we as citizens here in the USA, here in the USA, as well as abroad and internationally, we as citizens were programmed to basically hear these promises that these candidates were making, and eventually see that candidate win, but then not keep the promise or fulfill the promise they said they were going to do. We became so programmed to, being, disappointed in the fact that, the promises they made were just a bunch of lies, just to get into office. We were just so disappointed. But, and thus, because we were so disappointed, we're programmed not to believe anything an elected official of any level, political level, is going to say they're going to do. But yet here you have Trump doing exactly what he said he's going to do. And I think that's what threw us off. I think that's what threw me off. That's what threw my family off. That's what threw anybody. Even in entertainment, sports entertainment, you name it, movies, whatever the case may be, Hollywood, it threw everybody off. It was a massive domino effect because they're like, oh, this guy actually did it. Now what? And here you have certain, here you have certain party members, mostly Democrat and independent, and some Republican, but you have certain party members, that don't like the guy, trying to come up with certain excuses or certain reasonings, or as to why what he's promising and saying he's going to do and doing it. You have them coming up with different, reasonings as to why it's wrong or why it's unconstitutional, why it's undemocratic, and all that. You have them basically coming out with any reasoning to, shed a negative light just so they can find a way to get him out. And it's not, here's the thing, it's not going to happen. A lot of people even say, hey, even if they get a majority of the House or the Senate this upcoming year, which again, that's up to God's will, but depending on, what side of the fence that swings, in favor of, a lot of people have said, yeah, you might get that power or just a slight bit of power, but you ain't going to win. You could say you want to do this, you could say you want to do that, but it's not going to happen. It's not. And I think what it is at the end of the day, is just a lot of certain party members, Republican, some Republican, mostly Democrat, some Independent and Green Party, and even socialists, because yes, there is talk about doing a socialist party. They just have too much pride. They just have too much pride to come out and say, okay, Trump administration, you win. You said you're going to do what you said you're going to do what you promised, and you've done it, and we admit defeat. We'll work with you. They're too prideful. The thing is, they're too prideful to even say that. There are some that will. Fetterman, I believe, that guy, he should change parties. Let's be honest, he should. But the thing is, not many will say that. I mean, not many will admit that. A lot are too prideful. A lot are too prideful. And the thing is, what Trump is doing is not just what he promised he said he was going to do, but he's going beyond that. He's making sure his administration delves deep, and I mean deep, into the corruption around Washington and politics and everything, and make sure that what the Democrats have said has always been on the up and up either was that or it was a farce. And again, this goes back to what I was saying. A lot of people are just not so adjusted to that. They're not programmed to actually believe what they're seeing. And I think that's why we had that's why we had such a weird 2025 and everything. That's why we had such a weird 2025. It was just crazy. It was just crazy, if you will. And again, like I said, you couldn't turn on YouTube, you couldn't turn on the TV, you couldn't turn your head for a second without hearing about someone passing away or being killed or whatever the case might be. It was just that kind of year, and pray to God 2026 is not a repeat of that. Pray heavily to God that 2026 is not a repeat of that. But yeah, what a year it was. There's no doubt about it. What a year. But, the Christmas break, I will say, was a nice one. There's no doubt. Again, those of you that have followed me, and I don't want to ramble again on it, though, you kind of understand why I was kind of like, not sparse, but kind of like, delayed a little bit by a day or two on uploads and everything, because mainly the fact that, like I said, it was basically that part of the year, to where I had to make some adjustments. So not much I can do about that. Not much I can do about that and everything. But yeah, the Christmas break was actually pretty good and everything. And let me get some coffee here for a second, guys. It's good. A Maxwell House. It was according to my family, it was my great grandma's favorite coffee. It was my great grandma's favorite coffee on my mom's side. I'll put it that way. But anyway, getting back on point here. Basically, we had a good Christmas break. Did pretty good, as I showed you in a video for Christmas. There's no doubt. One of the things I, of course, ended up getting was Sonic Crossworlds and everything, which I was wanting. I got that and everything, so I was happy to get that and everything, as well as the second volume of the Transformers Conundrum, if you will, which, again, as I've alluded to, together with the first one, they would be sold together, which I'm sure they are at times. It'd be like $70, if not more, $75 at most, with or without taxes. But yeah, turned out pretty well with that. Got myself a digital scale and everything, which worked out pretty good and everything. I find out that basically, and I'm sure a lot of you know this when you weigh yourself on your digital scales, which I'm sure a lot of people have, whether you have an iPhone or an Android that helps you out with that. Basically, you find out that when you're all al natural, nothing, worn or anything, all al natural, that basically you weigh a lot less than what you normally are recorded to actually weigh when you're wearing clothes. We'll put it that way. So I found out that basically I'm around 178 pounds to 170 pounds. So it's not too bad. Not too bad for someone that's 5'8" and going on 47 years of existence this year. But yeah, it's not too bad. And, not too bad and everything. But like I said, it turned out very well, for this Christmas and all that and everything. And I'm sure this upcoming year is going to be even better. This upcoming Christmas is even going to be better. And yes, if you're curious, we still have the Christmas tree up and the decorations up. The reason we have it up, from what I've read online, because I asked, what is the most appropriate time in January? And basically, they said after January 5th or 6th, because that coincides with the days of I can't even pronounce the word. Infamy, if you will. Basically, the 12 days of Christmas, we'll put it that way. It kind of coincides with the 12 days of Christmas and the infamy, or whatever it's called, the Epiphatny. I do apologize if I pronounced that wrong. But basically, that's what it is, infamy. You know, basically coincides with that, so that's why a lot of people, including my family, keeps, well, at least me and the family I live, at least my family here in this house, keep that tree up as long as we do because it coincides with that. So I guess we're following tradition whether we knew it or not. But yeah, we still have it up and everything. But throughout this week, I'll probably be taking it down and putting stuff away. Give it a day or two and everything. I mean, I was thinking about doing it today, but I'm like, yeah, I'll just wait because basically certain individuals will want to see it light up the tree, that is, one last time. And there are neighbors across the street, across the way, that still have their stuff up and everything. They still have their lights up and all that. I can see that and everything. They might start taking them down today and all that, because one thing I do notice, and I've noticed it somewhat as a kid and growing up as well, that a lot of people will keep their trees and stuff, the decorations and trees up until at least the first full week of January, at least the first few days, because of the 12 days and infamy, if you will, tradition. But then they'll start taking it down almost, what was it, 2 days, 3 days in. And the reason when they do it, what they do basically is they do it because they want to make it seem like it was Santa, if you will. It was Santa, if you will, and his elves. They came by and said, "Okay, what do you need us to take down, folks? Okay, do 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 do." And basically they do that so that it has that magical feeling of Santa came by, took it, along with his elves, and took their time to help put things away, and now things are back to normal. So yeah, it's one of those deals, if you will, to where basically you take you just got to take your time with it and all that. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna do throughout this week, either starting tomorrow or Wednesday. Just take my time and go from there and see what I can take down and remove and everything. But yeah, it was a nice Christmas. There's no doubt. It was a very nice Christmas. We did what we could and everything. All the family did what they could and everything. So I'm really happy about that. And again, I truly believe things will be better this year as well. I truly believe that. Um, but again, it's up to God. God knows what's going to happen before we do. But yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, one of the things that I showed you what I got and everything, but there are some other things that people in this household got as well. Like for example, one of the big things they got was hold on for a second, folks. That's the phone. All right, sorry about that. That was the phone ringing. Again, even even with the phone calling, it kind of gets a little like, oh, gotta stop for a second, if you will. But like I was saying, oh yeah, that's why I had the light on for a second. One of the things we ended up getting was, well, at least part of the family ended up getting here in the house for Christmas was a gourmet. It's a gourmet Fry Force 360 is what they ended up getting. And the reason for this is because basically, it's just again one of those situations to where it's like, okay, what can you do to make a quick meal and everything, and that's one of the ways to kind of make a quick meal, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, if you want to look that up, I'll probably list it so you guys can see it. It's one of the items as well. And by the way, guys, as I'm recording this, once again, I do ask for you to like the video, smash that like button, share the video, and click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere. Super chats are open in the live chat. It would help me out tremendously, as well as the listings to like my stores will be in the description as well, and I will have the affiliated stores, which will probably have a listing of the Fry Force on there for you guys to look into as well. It helps me out with commissions and all that. Potentially helps you out as well in what you need in this upcoming year. But anyway, yeah, we ended up getting a few things there. Ended up getting some blankets and everything as well. So just decent Christmas. Again, not as extravagant. Excuse me, not as extravagant as it should be. I mean, one big surprise though, and this is the benefit of having family, via marriage, no matter who's the marriage, if you will. But in this case, it's my oldest nephew. The advantage is sometimes, you know, you, or in this case him, can end up getting things that you don't expect. Because the one thing he ended up getting this year is something I got earlier last year, and I showed this off in stuff that I got in my video where I was showing off stuff that I got last year. He ended up getting from his mother-in-law, which was a surprise to him, a MetaQuest 3S, and he was showing it off over at his mom, my middle sister, if you will, her home, where we were at for Christmas. He was showing it off, and everybody was trying it. And basically, I had to kind of let him know how it works and how to also put it away, because when him and his wife were leaving, he had to figure out. He was trying to figure out, okay, how do I put this away? And he's like, "Hey, B-Right, can you help me out here? Can you show me what to do?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no problem." So I helped them put it out, and I helped them put it back in the box and everything. Is what I'm trying to say. And I also showed them that the additional piece that's in there is to put on, so you could is to put into the thing, so you could have your glasses on when you're playing it and all that. So I told him, yeah, this little piece here, it's for your glasses. Go ahead and put that. All you have to do is take this part and put that in. And there you go. So he was appreciative of that and everything. And I even shared some video that I kept some video captures that I did of gameplay I was doing, because of course when you now see that you have family, close family that has the same thing as you do, it makes you want to get back into the mood of trying out, not just browsing and doing all these other things, but also just trying out the games. And some of the games, of course, I uploaded here on my channel are actually pretty fun. You have the arrow training, which is really good, and you have arrow. I think it's arrow evolution or arrow assault, one of them, and they're actually pretty good. It's actually kind of fun, and I think I kind of missed my calling too. I was like, maybe I can get some archery into this, and perhaps that's what I might do. I might end up getting one of those archery sets to put in the backyard during the spring and just go bing, bing, bing. Who knows? But I think I missed my calling with the axe throwing, maybe, and the archery. Who knows? But yeah, he was showing that off, and everybody had fun. I didn't try it because I wouldn't know what it's like. But I can tell you this: I have my niece, I have my sister's trying it, my brother-in-law's trying it, my third oldest nephew, my oldest nephew's younger brother, trying it, and they're like, "Oh, shoot!" I was like, "Whoa!" and everything. So it was fun. It was fun and everything. And then, of course, for New Year's, surprisingly, as far as I know, as far as we've been told, for New Year's, nobody really did anything like they normally would. Now, yes, it was because of the weather, and I know, I definitely feel in my bones, and I have in my gut, in my heart, I feel like basically, my I feel like basically my family, certain members of my family who are prayer warriors, they would basically be saying that weather we had, especially during New Year's, it was God telling everyone, not just my family, but everyone, stay home. Just stay home. Just celebrate there. And, that's what we did. That's what we did. We just stayed home and everything. And we kept up a tradition. Now, this year I couldn't really do the tradition like I wanted to, because last New Year's, when we rang in 2025, I had a bit of the bubbly, if you will, the barefoot bubbly, so I tried that. It was actually pretty good. I'll probably have to get that again down the line to make up for, not, having it this year. But I tried that, and it was really good. But didn't do that this year, unfortunately. Didn't do that this year because financially couldn't do it. I mean, I could have, but then I would have been declined or something like that. So what we ended up getting was the Martinelli's um, bottles. We ended up getting two Martinelli bottles. One I'm holding right now is sparkling cider, which was normally the one we would try on New Year's during in the New Year. And then the other one we had was the sparkling peach cider, which was actually pretty good. In fact, my third oldest nephew actually liked it. And then another one we ended up getting because when we went to Walmart a couple of days before New Year's, to shop to get some extra stuff because of course my oldest nephew was coming, third oldest nephew was coming for a couple of days. We were looking and wondering, okay, don't they have any, Martinelli's grape, grape flavor, and we didn't see it. But I saw that Welch's had sparkling red grape and purple grape, and I was like, okay, get that because that helps out too. So we still have those two. We have the sparkling cider and the sparkling red grape unopened. That's still there. Now, I don't know how long they would last for. I don't think they would last to the end of the year to get to next year. So that was one of those situations. You know what I'm saying? One of those situations. But yeah, we celebrated that way as well. And unfortunately, as I mentioned in the live stream, and I'll mention here, unfortunately, I couldn't get the short up. I mean, I did upload the short. I did create like a little 2.5 minute short, but I couldn't get it up and everything because of copyright. I mean, it was up. I should say it was uploaded, but it got blocked. It got blocked entirely. Now, it didn't hurt me, thank God. It didn't hurt me, but it was just one of those situations to where you can't upload it because it's going to get blocked worldwide. It's kind of like when I do it's kind of like when I do my attempts to upload my original "We're a Miracle" music video for Bonkers and Fawn, which, by the way, you can find that at my Rumble.com account, and you can find that at VENMO as well. And I think I got it on Dailymotion as well. I mean, not Dailymotion, but on DeviantArt as well. So if you want to check that video out, the original Bonkers and Fawn music video, go to my Rumble.com account, which is BW Roses. Go to DeviantArt at BVW1979 and VENMO, which is also BW Roses. You should find them there in the original form. But like I was saying, basically, it ended up getting the same result that, during several attempts, that I would try, and I'll probably try several more this year, of trying to upload my original "We're a Miracle" music video or fan vid of Bonkers and Fawn. The Christina Aguilera song which was promoted as part of the Pokemon the First Movie soundtrack. It would get blocked. It would get blocked, worldwide. It wouldn't affect my channel, it just couldn't be seen. It'd be playable only for me, but it couldn't be seen. So unfortunately, that's basically what I'm trying to say, is that's what happened to my New Year's vid that I did. It couldn't be seen due to the fact that basically, it had a lot of copyright. It had footage. Well, I didn't really have footage. I think it just had sound. I don't know what it was. It just couldn't be. I think it. Oh no, it did have footage. It did have the screen being shown and all that, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have took a bit of a lesson from from my live stream that I did a few days later. 7 days later. Yeah, a few days later. I should say a few days later when I did the Seahawks and the Niners. But yeah, basically it got copyrighted. So what I did is I took my New Year's video short that I made and I uploaded it to my TikTok. So if you want to check it out, it's on my TikTok. Link to my TikTok's in the description. So check that out if you would like. It will really help me out. Or go to the home page and you can click on the about, and you should find the well, not the about, but click on the information, the more button, and you'll find basically the information there, to where to find my content outside of YouTube. But anyway though, yeah, it's like it got blocked, unfortunately, so I had to put it up onto a TikTok. So again, if you guys want to check that out and everything, and TikTok might be where I have to take some of these vids, unfortunately. Maybe it might be where I have to take some of these vids in the future, these fan vids that I have. I might have to download them from certain websites, or not certain websites, but the places I have them at, and try to upload them to TikTok, because that way, maybe they might have a secondary home that's a huge affiliate, that's a huge conglomerate, if you will, that people could check out. But we'll see. We'll see if we'll do that. We'll see if we'll do that. But yeah, like I said, we celebrated that way and everything. We had pizza, that night. What's crazy is that it was the second time me and my family here had pizza in 5 days. Yeah, I'm not lying. Basically on Friday, basically, not last. It was not. No, definitely not last Friday, because last Friday was this past Friday. That's what I'm trying to say. This past Friday was the second, but the day after Christmas, I believe, the day after Christmas, we had pizza. We did. The day after Christmas, we had pizza, and it was fun. It was fun to have, because what we get mainly is Mountain Mike's. It's really good. If you come out to the West Coast, I'm sure there might be some in the Midwest, in the South, in the North, and I'm sure some have migrated over to the East. But if you ever try Mountain Mike's, I'm telling you, that pizza is the bomb. It is. Mostly the Everest. The Everest is really good. If you guys have never tried Mountain Mike's pizza, the Everest, when you ever come west, or you ever in that vicinity, California, Colorado, Utah, and other places that might have, migrated to as well, I'm telling you right now, you need to try the Everest. You need to try the wings. The wings are really good. You need to get a salad, because if you ask them, hey, can I get everything on the salad, they will make sure you get everything on that salad. Also the churros are good. The mountain fries are good. They're all tremendous. So mainly what happened, like I said, we had pizza for the second time in 5 days, because we had it the day after Christmas. We ordered it the day after Christmas. And then because my third oldest nephew was here, we had it basically for New Year's. We had it for New Year's. We got it on New Year's Eve and everything. And what we do when he's here, or even if we have other, nephews here and all that, nieces, staying for a couple of days or not, what we do is we order, not one pizza, but we order two. We order a large mountain, we order a large Mount Everest. That's what it's called, a large Everest. And then we order a medium-sized pizza. And in this case, with my third oldest nephew, it's a cheese pizza, because we know he'll just eat that. It's simple for him. He'll eat it. He's good to go. But I think what happens is that we don't account upon, or at least one of us don't, count upon the fact that he. I'll put it this way: he loves to snack. Even though his mom, my middle sibling, says he loves, he's a big eater, and he is. I think sometimes we don't take into account how big of an eater he is, because mainly the fact that, and I'm sure a lot of you know this from experience as well, being parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, sisters, brothers, you name it. I'm sure a lot of you know this from experience, that basically when you have a big eater in your family, it's like, whoa, better, stock up and everything, because, they will eat. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. They can eat as much as they want. They're welcome to whatever they want. That is the fact. There's nothing wrong with that. But point I'm getting at is, sometimes we as family that have them over, we need to be more prepared. Because one of the shocks was, we like to snack on chips, right? We like to buy a lot of chips, right? Well, the only bags remaining in here from the chips are the 2 Tostitos bags that we bought. So we have the Hint of Lime Party Size, and we have the Scoops. Those are the ones that are left. Because the other ones we bought was the Takis, the Fire Hearts, the Takis, which he ate. It was one of his favorites, but I think it's because he's getting older and he's still young, not even in his prime yet. It's kind of affecting him a little bit more, so he's probably got to kind of tone it down with that. But then the other thing we got was the salt and vinegar. It was kind of, I can't think of the name brand right now, but it was something. It's like a beige bag. It's a bag that's beige in the middle, but it's like turquoise blue on the top and bottom. It's like McAvie, Mavies or something. I can't pronounce the name. But long story short, you know, part of my family, who loves those chips and usually buys it for themselves, looked and saw like, oh crap, our the chips, the salt and vinegar chips are gone. What the heck, you know? And again, they didn't mind. They're like, look, they're here just for a couple of days. Let them have them. So it's no big deal. No big deal. But point is, it's like, for any family in that manner, past or present or future, be prepared. Always make sure you are ready. You are ready for the inevitable, if you know what I mean. But yeah, outside of that, it was a nice New Year's visit with them, and then of course, yesterday they flew out basically to Santa Barbara. But what was funny about them flying back to Santa Barbara, because he goes to UCSB, University of California, Santa Barbara. What's interesting about that is the fact that planes are weird. Planes are weird. There's no doubt. Planes are weird. And what happened is that he took the flight. I think he was out of San Francisco or Oakland, one of the two. But they had him routed to where he would fly into Las Vegas and then get on a flight and come back to and then come to Santa Barbara. And I know you're thinking, you're hearing this, and you're like, wait a minute. He should just have a straight flight to Santa Barbara. That don't make sense. Well, you get what you pay for, right? Get what you pay for. And mainly what happened is he got routed, like I said, from either the Oakland or San Francisco airport to Las Vegas, Nevada, has to wait 3 hours, go from there back to Santa Barbara. Yeah, again, weird flight. And I'm sure people are looking, I'm sure some of the people that check the tickets and all that, they're looking at his ticket going like, so you're supposed to go to Santa Barbara? But why are you here in Las Vegas? I'm sure people are looking at those, or those in Oakland and San Francisco. The flight people are like, wait a minute, you're supposed to go to Santa Barbara, but you're being routed to Las Vegas and back? Huh? I think it even throws them off. But outside of that and everything, it was a good. I'll put it this way: it was a very nice holiday break. It was a very nice holiday break, and sometimes the nice comes before the great. We'll put it that way. The nice comes before the great. And this year will be great. This year will be great because a lot of us will make resolutions. We may not keep them, but some we will. And I have a resolution that I've been thinking in my mind that if I can keep it financially, I will be great. I'll be better off this year. I will be better off this year. But overall, outside of that, as of today, like I said at the beginning, things are back to normal for the new year. We're starting off the new year with things back to normal as planned, as usual. But like I said, things will change this month, if not this first quarter of the new year. Things will definitely change. And I will, by the grace of God, be back at work. And I ask for your prayers heavily in that happening. Because again, it could either be with where I was for 6 years, from 2014 to 2020, or it could be, me going to a place where a legacy unexpectedly will be created. But yeah, keep it very heavily in your prayers that it occurs. But anyway, though, guys, that's about it. I think I've rambled on long enough. In closing, I hope you all had a safe and happy New Year, as I mentioned in my live stream originally. Hope you had a safe and happy New Year, especially those of you, and I'm sure there are those of you listening and watching that were at Times Square. Hoping you had a good time and you were safe. Really hope you had a good time and you were safe. And definitely, according to what I've read online, took some very thorough showers afterwards, no matter at the hotels you were staying at, because basically what I read online, the only way certain people survive, survive that, long they're there for, is by having adult diapers on. So yeah, I guarantee you that some of the more notable people that distribute the Depends brands, I guarantee you they saw a big sales boost. But yeah, I hope again you guys all had a safe and happy New Year, depending on where you were. We were at Times Square for the Dick Clark Rockin' Eve. We were at the other Dick Clark Rockin' Eves in Las Vegas, Puerto Rico, Chicago, or whatever celebrations you were at across the United States and the world. I hope you all had, I hope you all had a safe and happy New Year. And just in case, guys, just a reminder, there will be a live stream. There will be a live stream that will happen. Don't know if it'll happen before you hear this or afterwards, but it will happen. But that's all I can really say, guys. So thank you all for supporting me throughout these past 17 years, going on 18 years this June. And thank you for all of you that have subscribed to me in 2025. Let's get that subscribe number up in a big way in 2026. Let's try, guys, in 2026 to hit at least 30,000 subscribers. Because the closer I get to 1 million, the closer I think any of us as content creators, will achieve at least getting that silver button. And maybe, who knows? Maybe YouTube might change it. I'll talk about that probably in the predictions. But yeah, again, remind you, a live stream predictions is coming. I will try to get it out before certain times this year, certain later times this year. Not this year, but today. Later times for today, if you know what I mean. So check it out. Check that out when it happens. Be there. And when you're there, during the live stream, when it happens, like that video, like that stream, smash the like button, and the super chats and live chat and super chats will be open if you want to donate during that live stream. It will help me out tremendously. But guys, that's all I'm going to say for now. And like I said, hope you had a healthy and safe New Year. And until next time, until the live stream that is, I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. I gotta go make my bed. Take care.